You've discovered the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. Chats with John and Suzanne. I'm John, and Suzanne is my beautiful wife of 34 years. And we are supposed to talk about life, love, and laughter. Well, tonight we are going to talk on One of Us Loves TV. Who would that be, Suzanne?
That'd be me.
You're waiting for me to point to you.
I am. I've been told.
Yeah, I know.
I just do what I'm told.
Our producer's kind of hard to get along with.
I have to put out a disclaimer.
Uh-oh, what's your disclaimer tonight?
My disclaimer is that I look a hot mess if they're watching.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm so sorry. Look at me. I am like crazy Christmas mode. And hot flash season, it's just...
I don't think that you
I don't have anything. I look awful. I've got my Bill Clinton nose.
The best thing about it is the night you think you look awful, I have a new camera. It's my Suze Cam.
Suze Cam.
Suze Cam. Tonight's episode is being brought to you by Zoom Audio, where I got all the
Zoom
equipment.
Audio.
It's Zoom Podcast.
I hope you don't get in trouble for saying stuff you're not supposed to.
Well, I think Zoom Audio will be very happy that we're using the Zoom PodTrack P8, and we've got a couple of Zoom cameras. So if you want to start your own podcast, perhaps for your wife's birthday, you can go ahead and buy some podcast equipment.
Because that's what you did.
I did, and said, happy birthday, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And anybody who wants to start a podcast, I will gladly give you this well-worn book that I have called Podcasts for Dummies.
You've never opened it, have you?
I haven't, but it's been sitting around gathering dust, so I'll be glad to share that with anybody. But tonight we're going to be talking about One of Us Loves TV. You have like a love language of TV.
Absolutely. My whole life.
Your whole life. I don't think people understand just how much you love TV.
Yeah. I mean, I really love it.
Well, why?
It's so hard to explain.
I mean, we're probably like most families. I mean, when you fix dinner, at the end of dinner, we have Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy on.
Sometimes we eat dinner to Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
And we get stuck on our date nights on Friday nights if there's a good Dateline episode on, or if we're out with friends and we'd rather be in bed watching Dateline, we will think of some kind of a excuse to leave.
I'm sure that all of our friends appreciate that.
But talk about some of this here. I mean, like you love...
I could tell you what time I watched shows when I was young. You know, like my mom would cook dinner, and I know that Dick Van Dyke came on at 5 o'clock.
So Dick Van Dyke was your after-school TV?
Well, no, that was the getting ready for TV. Like, if I got in trouble, which was very seldom because, you know, I'm a rule follower and I don't get in trouble.
You are.
But if I did...
And I have a lot of rules, so that's why we
Yeah. Well, if I got in trouble when I was a kid, TV was the first thing. I mean, because I just loved it. I just loved all the TV.
But you love classic TV, and we're lucky that our kids also love I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke and Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver. You still watch Leave It to Beaver.
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith. Oh, my gosh. Andy Griffith every day.
Every single day I watch Andy Griffith, I Love Lucy, Leave It to Beaver. Every day.
Every day.
Every single day.
Well, let's talk about it's a classic TV. Obviously, Dick Van Dyke and Lucy. Lucy, I think you are probably very close to Lucy.
I love her. She's my idol.
She is your idol?
Yeah, I've loved her forever.
Give me an episode that you love of Lucy. I mean, literally, our kids grew up watching Lucy in the van or the Suburban, and like they can hear
just at
lines
home.
and just know what episode.
Yeah, you know what I love? I love turning it on and then like closing my eyes because I've seen it so many times and I know exactly what they're going to say and what they're going to do that I can play it all out in my mind. I can do that with Seinfeld. I can do that with Friends. I can do that, you know, with Raymond. I can do it with most anything. Now I love the sitcom is my favorite genre. Yeah. That's my favorite genre.
Same way mine is.
And then I really love
The Bachelor.
What a waste of time.
It is not a waste of time. It's great TV. If you watch The Bachelor, if you get to know who the Bachelor or the Bachelorette is, and you get to know the other suitors, it's really great TV.
It's not not great TV.
Okay,
it's
this
a bunch
is
of whiny babies that can't do things on their own.
This is the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. And are you not in favor of people meeting their best friend and marrying on national television?
No. I am not.
Okay, so back to classic television.
Classic television, that's where it's at. I'm telling you.
If
I could, you know what? Our son was just here this afternoon, and he and his friends, he told me, were just talking about this last week, that if they could go back and live in any other time, what would they choose? Guess what our son chose? Just guess.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke Time.
1960s, baby. He
Really?
is so my kid.
I could totally see him working with Goober in the Goober and Gomer over in the gas station.
He loves it, and he said, you know what he says about Otis on Andy Griffith. He says Otis is he is the most underrated character.
That's great.
The drunk,
I think you also
town drunk.
You also like Andy Griffith because Barney was
he was my grandpa.
representation
I'm
of your
telling you, he's
grandfather.
my paw daddy.
Yeah.
They looked alike, they acted alike, they talked alike, everything they did. And paw daddy watched it every day. And I think that's why I loved that one so much, is that I would watch it with him. Even when I was in high school, we could leave for lunch, you know, when I was a senior. And they lived, well, before I was a senior, they lived close to my school. And for some reason, my friend worked in the office, and so we could leave campus and everything. Sometimes I would just hop over to their house and
Have a little sandwich.
Well, at noon, yeah, because Andy Griffith came on, and we would watch it together, Paw Daddy and I. Yeah.
One of my favorite
Then I'd just go
memories
back to
was
school.
when I was in college. I used to sneak off campus at lunchtime and go watch. Barb McKinley used to make me lunch, and we would watch As the World Turns.
See, and I'm a lover of soap operas too.
What was the soap opera when you were in college that you watched?
Days of Our Lives, man.
You never were at General Hospital?
Well, yeah, of course, Luke and Laura back in the day, but
I was an As the World Turns person.
no. I was a,
and I kind of got upset
all
when they
my
started introducing like
children-
new soap operas like The Bold and the Beautiful. Which, oddly enough, when everything else gets canceled, The Bold and the Beautiful still lasted.
Still on. Yeah, there's so very few that are still on. But All My Children was my show. That was my story. I had to sit down at 1:00 every day and watch my story. And let me tell you this: when we moved out here, before TV was digital, you could get NBC on a radio station.
Oh, you could?
Did you not know that?
Oh, no.
You could totally do it, because when I was running kids to do their whatever they had to do, I could find, if I was not home at 1:00 to watch All My
could listen to it on the
Children,
radio.
I could listen to it on the radio like in the old days. And I loved it.
Well, so soap operas. We just lost Norman Lear. I'm talking about not we. He's not like a part of our family, but I mean, guys like Norman Lear who created. I mean, like
Absolute genius
Archie
television.
Bunker, and you know, you think about those TV shows that came out during that time. When we were fortunate because we were raised with TV.
With
And-
TV, where you had to go in
I
and
mean,
sit
my
down
mother
and
could
watch
actually
it.
make a TV dinner, like the actual tray where you actually put it in the oven and that.
But you had to go
and we had TV trays. I don't think people use TV trays anymore. Do
Some
they?
people do. I wish
they?
we had TV trays. I
Well, I
love
don't think we
TV
ever had
trays.
TV trays. Our dog is.
Yeah,
is
please excuse our
vocal in the
dog.
other
He's
room.
out of sedatives today.
So, and I wonder if we're gonna have to stop the podcast. But you think?
No, he's all right.
Okay, so Norman Lear. But when we grew up, I mean, Saturday night we had Bob Newhart show. The
Carol
Bob Newhart
Burnett.
show, Carol Burnett show, and then you got into
Sketch comedy
the
with Carol
MTM,
Burnett. How could
you had the
you
Mary Tyler
not?
Moore, Mary Tyler Moore
Yep.
show, and then we were the right age when Love Boat and Fantasy
Oh
Island
man,
came out.
Love Boat and Fantasy Island. I'm telling you, and I told you this the other
I
night
don't
when
think
we were
people
talking
understand
about it.
how great the Love Boat was. When
The
you were
Love
a
Boat
kid.
was awesome, but my mom would make me take a shower on Saturday night when Fantasy Island was coming on sometime if I didn't do it before, and I was so mad because I wouldn't get to watch it because it came on at 9:00 and I had to be in bed by 10.
Do you think they would cast
Back in the
that
day.
little short guy again?
What, Tattoo?
Yeah, Tattoo. I mean,
The plane.
yeah. I
Probably not. It would probably be against like
somebody would be offended.
somebody be offended. Somebody get their feelings hurt.
They didn't like his accent or something of that nature. But welcome back, Cotter.
Welcome back, Cotter. You know, that's on in the afternoons. I can watch that on
Wonderful.
Antenna
Okay,
TV.
so classic TV and Antenna TV and all these things are
Man, they're my
bringing
favorite
these shows back.
favorite channels.
What about
Barney Miller. I loved that.
Can you name the show Dynamite?
Well, yeah.
What is it?
That is that's also
Good
Norman
Times.
Lear, Good
Yeah,
Times.
J.J. Walker.
Ain't
I
we
love
lucky we
J.J.
got 'em?
Walker.
Da,
Oh my
da, da,
gosh.
da, da, da.
I love
Good
J.J. Walker.
times.
You had Archie Bunker, Sanford and Son. Man, I love Sanford and Son.
I think our son is Sanford.
Oh my gosh, a hoarder. Yeah, like today they got the hoarder reality show, but Sanford was a hoarder.
Back in the day, it was just Sanford.
Yeah,
It
he'd
was
always
just Red Fox.
grab his heart like he's about to die. Oh, Elizabeth. God, I love Sanford and Son. And
But think about those times, like those TV shows, I don't think would actually make it to primetime television right now. I don't even think they would make it to cable television because they would be really
yeah,
offensive.
but Archie Bunker was so on the edge at that point in time and really
He was
represented
offensive
America.
back then.
I know, but then the Jeffersons, because that was a spinoff from Archie,
Mm-hmm.
which I love the Jeffersons too.
Andre was on the Jeffersons.
Oh, he was? Mm-hmm. I never knew that.
Yeah, it was a joke around the house
And
that
then you had
if
Flip
you
Wilson
didn't have
show.
anything to watch,
Was it Flip
that
Wilson?
you,
Was that his name? Flip Wilson, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a great variety show because it was like the fun version of Carol.
Dressing
Regan.
up in drag.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't remember that. But then we had great formulaic shows like Adam 12,
Love
Emergency 51.
Adam 12 was one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, Emergency 51 I loved because you knew at like 22 minutes they were going to have a little bit of a heart attack or something a little small, like a car
But it
accident.
had to be resolved
I know,
by the end of the show.
then- No,
There
no,
was
no.
not
They had two emergencies. Emergency 51 always had like an easy one, like a heart attack or a car crash, and then at like a quarter till, like at the 45-minute, then it
Yeah.
was like earthquake or massive, and then they had to have it resolved. I mean, this is before MacGyver. This is before.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean,
MacGyver's the 80s.
yeah, it was, and obviously Baywatch kind of came and followed in the Emergency 51 footprint.
I
I
guess.
watched Baywatch because it reminded me of Emergency 51, not because of
Watched
any
Baywatch
of the
because it
girls.
reminded you of times gone by.
You think so?
Boobs jumped by.
I had
That's
that
what
same.
it.
I had that same swimming trunks, the same swimming trunks as David Hasselhoff wore, the red ones.
Okay.
Pretty great. Oh, what about Charlie's Angels? That was 70s.
Couldn't watch Charlie's Angels. Never hardly got to watch it until I was like more grown up and it was on rerun.
If you're a friend of ours and live in Indiana and want to come by the Stewart Farm barn sometime, there is still a 70s poster of Farrah Fawcett in the iconic red swimsuit hanging in the barn.
Tell them about the T-shirt that you had and what you did to it.
Well, it wasn't just me. We all had this T-shirt. I was
You-
like in fifth
all
or
the
sixth
little
grade.
boys in the
Every boy
fifth
wanted
grade.
the red swimsuit Farrah Fawcett T-shirt. If you're listening and you're in your 50s, you probably remember this. But we all wanted that T-shirt. And what I would do is
All the boys had it in my school.
I would twist. I would take the shirt and I would twist it in two.
So she had
in
boobies?
two little places. Well,
Did you get in trouble?
some of us. Oh, I got in trouble. I was going to a private school, Joseph T. Walker, and
Did you get sent
in
to the
Marietta.
office?
I was always in the office.
That's the other thing that they can't do now is they can't take care of business at school.
Oh my gosh! Well, Farrah
even get me
Fawcett.
started on
Farrah
that.
Fawcett. To little prepubescent boys, we all heard about her nipplage.
Oh my
And so,
word.
I'm sorry, we're talking about TV, but I would really proudly wear that shirt and get in trouble.
Yeah, I was never.
You weren't allowed to watch.
I wasn't,
first
it
on,
wasn't
let's
that I
go back,
wasn't
let's go back.
allowed. It was that we went to church on Wednesday night and it came on Wednesday night. And so everybody would get together at school on Thursday and talk about Charlie's Angels. And I felt really left out because I never got to watch it.
Well, every boy loved Farrah Fawcett. And if they didn't love Farrah Fawcett, they loved Jacqueline Smith because she was the brunette. And
But
really
who did
hot.
you love?
I chose Kate Jackson because I
didn't
felt
love her,
lonely.
you
Oh, I
chose
loved
her.
her. I chose Kate Jackson because I
You
felt
chose
like
her mind.
she was smart.
She was super smart.
But I had a crush on Kate Jackson of all the
Everybody.
Charlie's Angels. But then,
Wow.
were you allowed to watch the $6 Million Man?
Oh my gosh, that was my brother's show.
Bionic Woman?
Bionic Woman. I had the dolls, Bionic Woman. Do you know what other genre of TV that I absolutely just could soak up like a sponge and wish that we still had is variety television, like the Donnie and Marie show.
Oh, yes. Smothers Brothers.
Or
also.
yeah, Smothers Brothers was also very cutting edge.
But you watched The Osmonds.
Oh, I had the dolls. I just posted about that this last week on Facebook. That it's been something like, I don't know. I think
But
it was
daytime TV, you had the Merv Griffin show.
1976.
I love the Merv Griffin show.
Yeah, I love. Do
was
you
a
remember?
variety.
you remember
Mike Douglas was a TV host
when
too.
Kramer did the Mike Douglas show on
Or was Merv Griffin?
Merv Griffin on in his
I remember
apartment.
when I was in high school. No, sorry, when my brother was in high school or college, my dad had a business trip to Cincinnati. I think I may have shared this before. He had a business trip to Cincinnati, and that's where they shot the Phil Donahue show.
Have you
And
talked about this?
I don't know, but my mother was at the Phil Donahue show. That's what she did that day with my dad, and they were talking about marijuana and kids smoking pot and how bad
I
it was.
remember this story.
And they passed it around. Oh, I did share this. They passed it around. Everybody smelled it. And my mom said, "My son says that's incense." So he was
Yeah.
smoking pot back in the day and telling him. So
He was joking.
back to TV. What are the other shows? I can understand Charlie's Angels. John and Theta Hall not wanting you to watch Charlie's Angels. Because
Well, it
of
wasn't that they
Day.
didn't want me to watch it. It's just that we weren't home on Wednesday nights.
Okay.
And so
okay,
I
you're
kind
at
of,
church.
yeah. I
Were
just
you
kind of-
allowed? Okay, Pentecostal girl. Were you allowed to watch Three's Company?
Oh, no.
Why? Because
until
the
I was
two
much
girls
older.
living with the boy.
And it was just a little too racy. A little too racy for the Hall household.
That's funny. It's funny that even like when I moved to Los Angeles, there was still a stigma about living with women because I lived in that house with two girls, and I remember your mother not being very pleased with that.
Well,
So Charlie's Angels, Three's Company. When was your first? How old were you when you got your first TV in your room?
Well, I didn't get my first TV.
Because today every kid has TV.
Yeah, no, I didn't get a TV in my room until I was at Evangel.
Really? Like none in high school? Mm-mm. I had to be second or third grade when I got my first TV.
I can see that.
And I had it in my room. We lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And you may be surprised
Mom and Dad
by
had
this.
one in their room, but we didn't.
I
have
had my own TV, and I used to switch it with my hand. You know, you had to turn the channels. But that's when I discovered. Are you ready?
I don't know.
I discovered the PTL show with Jim and Tammy Baker.
Gosh, of course
It came on at 10 o'clock at night, and man, I would try to stay up to watch Jim and Tammy Baker and the PTL show. That was actually
ChristianMingle.com, man.
that was actually the first
Just
TV
saying.
show that I wrote a letter into. I colored a picture of PTL and mailed it into Jim and Tammy.
My
you
dad
believe
did that show many a time.
You know who else did that show? BB and CeCe Winans. They were singers there.
in the day.
A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people did that show.
No, but I discovered Christian television. I like Christian television. If you remember, I mean, now
I was not a fan of
they've
Christian
got a lot of
television.
Christian. Okay, they've got a lot of good Christian films today and Christian television. I love some of the programs that are done on TBN.
As long as it's
but-
not cheesy.
I know, but in the 70s, you said you weren't a fan of Christian television. But do you remember the iconic show that was on Sunday mornings, Davy and Goliath?
Now, that was not Christian television.
What do you mean that wasn't Christian television?
I mean,
it was
that
Davy
wasn't
and
like,
Goliath.
It wasn't evangelistic television. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't.
It was. If you're not familiar with Davy and Goliath, I guess you can probably Google it. But it was kind of a Christian version of Gumby.
Yeah, it was.
It was like what do you call
claymation.
it? Claymation, where they had little Davy, and he would always have some predicament where he would have to.
I know. I hurried up and got dressed so that I could eat my bowl of cereal and watch that before we went to church.
And that was
Loved
Christian television back in the day, and then Christian TV.
And of course, hey, ORU also.
Well, you had the Expected Miracle shows.
Yeah,
with,
that came on right before.
Well, in the 70s and the 80s,
Right
you had
before.
Robert Schuller in The Hour of Power, which was great
Yep,
TV.
yep.
Or Roberts used to do primetime specials where he would be in like the ORU singers.
Well, and Billy Graham did the same.
Billy Graham did big crusades and things of that nature. But Oral was more on entertainment, and it was a little more high entertainment. And then Robert Schuller always had like special people that were famous people that also happened to be Christians or have a
And they always televised their like Christmas pageant too, didn't they, Schuler? Yeah, that
did.
was really beautiful.
You know who else broadcast their Christmas program? The Catholic Church. The Pope every Christmas Eve.
Every
It's like
Christmas Eve. When I just love to have it in the background when
Even if you're not Catholic, it's like billions of people around the world. Are
I love
watching
to
Mass
watch
on
it.
Christmas
Yeah.
with the Pope.
television makes me feel like it's more than just comfort for me. I don't know. It's a creative outlet. If something is, I can tell if something's going to be bad straight away.
Can you?
Yeah. Like I'm a documentary junkie.
Yes,
You think I am?
I think you are. Keep going.
I love me a documentary. And I need to know that. And I love period pieces.
Okay, so
And that's the theater teacher in me, I think.
in
the
college,
theater.
when we were in college, if you remember, like must-see TV came out on Thursday night. We had the Cosby Show.
I couldn't wait. Like I would get in my car after teaching school. I would get in my
What else
car
was
and I
on
would
there
think,
when we were in college? You had the Cosby
in college,
Show.
I was thinking must-see TV was when was in the 90s.
When we started getting married. But the Cosby Show came out while we were in college.
That was Designing Women, the Cosby Show.
And then, you're right. And then once we got married, you had Seinfeld and you had Friends, and those were on Thursday night. You know what else came out while we got married?
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, but when we first got married, I loved this on Saturday morning. I know I wasn't the targeted demo because it was made for youth, but Saved by the Bell.
I was going to say Saved by the Bell. That was hysterical.
Yeah, I love Saved by the Bell.
You pretty much had to watch it every week.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Seinfeld, Friends. Oh, you loved Paul Reiser and Mad About You.
Oh.
Is that show on at all? Do you ever see
Sometimes I can find it. Sometimes I can. And when I was watching the history of the sitcom the other night, I watched documentaries about television. That's how sad my brain is about TV.
You love it when it goes to like 80s CNN.
I just like to know why. I want to know who wrote the script. Why was it, I just love all of that. I love that Everybody Loves Raymond. 90% of that is the real deal. Like it happened to somebody, it happened to a producer. It happened to Ray. It happened,
I always thought that there were certain episodes of the Seinfeld show. We watched Seinfeld from literally the first episode.
Yeah, back when they thought it was going to be canceled.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it, but we were watching it from day one. And I always thought that they were watching us and stealing some of it, like yada yada.
We were totally yada yada way before then. And hello, yeah,
yeah. But there's all kinds of things that happened. You always say that. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh my Lord! You are Larry David.
Well, so maybe they did copy some other things, but
I don't think they copied it. I think you just started.
Well, you talk about Curb Your Enthusiasm. HBO had incredible TV there for a while.
Sopranos.
When the Sopranos came out, and then what was the prison show that I liked after that? And then they had 6 Feet Under, and then they had
6 Feet Under just premiered like on Netflix.
Oh, did it really?
Like the original 6 Feet Under.
No,
and
Sopranos,
I heard somebody at a table next to me talking about it last week, and they were like telling their kids, "Oh, watch this show." And I'm thinking, I have watched that from the beginning.
Well, the Sopranos got you from the very first lick of that music.
That used to be my ringtone when I drove, and I drive a big black Suburban, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so Tony Soprano right now."
And I'm smoking cigars to this day because you like the whole Soprano gangster type thing.
I'm also obsessed with the mob. I have to watch and read everything that there is about
what was
gangsters.
That show with the prison guys? It was like in the cell block, and
I remember that we used to, and then it was Christopher Maloney was on that.
Yeah. A lot of people were on that. Like they literally had a ton of different people on that show.
Oh, I'm going to feel really dumb that I can't think of the name.
I'm sure somebody's right now listening to this podcast and screaming.
If you know, text John.
Yeah. No, but
where's your phone?
They're probably it's on Do Not Disturb because the last episode.
That's right. Somebody called
me, but God, I can't remember what it was. But you had 6 Feet Under, you had Sopranos. I mean, people subscribed to HBO during that period of time, and the kids today don't understand how bad it was that we had to watch TV when it came on.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier.
Oh my gosh! And then the DVR came. Well, first you had the VHS, and we could record it. You could hit record, or you could set it.
I remember our very first VCR that we got. I remember it because we were very late to the game. The Hall family very late to the game to get a microwave. Mom thought we were all going to get cancer, and very late to the game to get a VCR. And to think that I could put
a tape in there,
that movie in that I wanted to watch over and over and over again. Christopher and I watched Seems Like Old Times and Foul Play about 5 times in a row the first time that we got our VCR. But the fact that we could tape all of the Christmas specials, that's the other thing, is I never wanted to go anywhere because I didn't want to miss any of my Christmas specials.
Charlie Hart, one of our friends, he has VHS tapes of every Indy 500 since 1972. He does.
He still uses his VCR.
And the fun thing about that is he actually has all the commercials taped, and you can still watch all the commercials and things of that nature, which is pretty impressive. Are you having a hot flash right now?
I am right now.
Just thinking about it.
Thinking about how much TV I could be watching right now. What are we doing?
Instead, we're sitting here talking. But talk about kind of the shows that our parents watched. I mean, I can't.
Well, we all know what my dad watched. If it was a preacher, he was watching it.
Christian television. My parents or my dad loved Hee Haw. We used to watch Hee Haw on
Saturday night. I think that this is in our age group.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us can sort of remember doing this either with our parents or more so with our grandparents. And that was Hee Haw and the Lawrence Welk Show.
Yes.
Lawrence Welk, man, if I was with my grandparents on a Saturday night, that was what we were doing. I was wearing a bonnet, hair dryer, and my nanny would turn on, Hee Haw and Lawrence Welk, and that's what we watched. And the funny thing is, I love that music. I mean, not so much Hee Haw, but it cracked me up, the sketches and whatever, I still think in my head, hey, Grandpa, what's for supper? I still think about it.
Once again, another show that probably wouldn't make it today because it was offensive to people.
Oh, my gosh, absolutely.
What about game shows? Do you love
game shows? Price is Right, man. That was also my nanny's big thing. We had to watch. She would not go someplace if she was going to miss. And she would say, no, I can't go because, she didn't call it The Price is Right. She just said, I can't go because Price is Right. Price is Right.
I like Price is Right. I also like The Password Is.
Oh, I love and Jimmy Fallon brought back Password. I just watched it this week, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I love Password.
One of us was actually on a game show.
Hollywood Squares. I love that.
Willie Ames was on Hollywood Squares, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
One of us was actually on a...
Yeah, one of us was. I can't believe... Have we not talked about that?
I don't think we've ever talked about the dating game. No, I think we did talk about the dating game on one of the earlier episodes.
Maybe.
It wasn't Love Connection. It was the dating game.
Oh, my dad would watch Love Connection. Yeah, and my mom would catch him watching it.
Back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
And she would say, what are you watching? And he would say, nothing. And he'd turn to some preacher.
Yeah.
It's quite funny.
Well, and your mom would spend half her time on Saturdays watching those old black and white Westerns.
Sunday afternoon, man.
Sunday
That's
afternoon.
all we ever watched were Westerns. And I remember the very first time that I saw Singing in the Rain. And I was in my room. I think I didn't have chicken pox. I had something else that was like a childhood thing that you get. Mumps, chicken pox, something like that. But I was really, really sick, and I was in bed, and my mom brought the little black and white TV. She brought it in my bedroom so that I could watch it. That's the one she kept in the laundry room. Yeah, we had one in the laundry room and in my parents' room and in the family room, but I didn't have one, and I loved it more than anybody. It's probably why they didn't give it to me.
That's probably why.
But that's the first time I saw Singing in the Rain.
I've always thought that you would make a great reality TV show.
Oh yeah, I totally would.
If people actually knew what you did around
I'm a goofball. I would totally do
with
it.
Your life with all the animals, the fact that God's blessed with some pretty special kids, the fact that you're married to a guy that travels, who has a few
issues.
Okay, so I wouldn't say issues, but just I always thought you'd make a great reality show. And let's talk about some of these TV shows are really quite big franchises. These franchises. Like if you were on your own TV show, all of a sudden Noblesville could become very popular for people to visit. Think about Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Which my family knows Chip and Joanna.
Right. Well, Gail Gaines is probably one of the most amazing women who was Roland's assistant for many years and your mom's dear, dear friend. Wonderful family. But Chip and Joanna Gaines put Waco on the map. I mean, absolutely.
Well, but look what they did for Waco. It's not just like they live in Waco. I mean, look what they did.
No, they built a whole industry there.
Yeah.
You've been there to the silos and all that kind of stuff. I've never really stopped there.
They've done more than just, hey, I'm from here.
Yeah, but before that, most people thought of Waco with David Koresh. And,
that's true.
Like that. So they totally revitalized Waco. And,
that's true.
And, when I got up Pawhuska, Oklahoma, the Pioneer Woman has put that place on the map.
Yeah, I sure didn't know where Pawhuska was.
No, nobody did. But thanks to Ray Drummond and her cookbooks and her cool mercantile store and everything like that. You think about
her yummy.
I'm trying to think what other TV shows have really set cities on fire. Well, you've
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah. the biggest one by far has to be dun 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 dun. You have no idea what song that is.
Dun 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 da da da.
Name of the show.
Dun dun
South Fork
dun,
Ranch.
dun, dun, yeah. Many times have I taken people
Dallas.
that have come to visit.
Everybody went to the South Fork Ranch, and during the 70s, I remember I went to Romania when my brother was in Romania. living there, and we visited, and people said, "Where are you from?" And you would say Dallas, and they would all go, "Oh,
Who shot JR?
yeah,
That's
they
what
thought-
we got the first time we went to London. Every time
Oh.
they'd hear us talk, they would be like, "Who
my
shot
gosh.
JR?"
I don't think people
know.
today
Nobody
could handle-
knows.
I don't think people today could handle the cliffhanger that Dallas did for us.
No, well, look.
I mean,
at
Dallas was the number one TV show at the time, and it went through a whole episode. And the last episode of the season, somebody shot JR, and literally that was the biggest. It was on headline news. It was everywhere.
People wore T-shirts. Who
Yeah,
shot JR?
who shot
I mean, it
JR?
was a huge thing. But think about
Wasn't
our
it Lee Harvey
son.
Oswald on the hill? No, that's a whole nother thing.
Our kid loves to read, you know, but when he was reading Harry Potter or Hunger Games or anything that's in a series, he would not read. He waited to read Harry Potter until all the books were at his
Can't do that
fingertips
today. Or you
because
couldn't do it back then. You can't
yeah,
today.
he did
Carrie's,
not
your
want
friend
to
Carrie's
stop.
that way.
Yep.
She won't watch a series until it's all on Netflix or
ended,
whatever.
and then she can watch the whole thing.
Yeah, but golly, that was a cliffhanger of all cliffhangers. You
I
talk
do
about our
kind of
kids.
miss that. I do kind of miss that, like on even just recently, like when we used to all sit down and watch The Middle. You know, we as a family loved The Middle.
That's another TV show where I think they were looking in our windows
Absolutely. Oh,
and
they
writing some of our.
they totally
Because
wrote
Brick is like one
everything
of our
about us.
kids, and
Sue is like one of our
Sue
kids.
is like one of our
and
kids.
Axel's one of our kids. I mean, it was totally us for. It was in Indiana.
Yep.
You know, and I just think that we miss sort of that. It's Wednesday night. It's
And we
8
watch it as a
o'clock.
family.
Let's watch The Middle. Let's watch The Big Bang Theory. Let's watch. Those are
well,
all
today
things
everybody watches
that we
series. Everybody watches.
yeah, but we
movies
watched
on
those
Netflix, things like that.
together. You know, we would go in, we would sort of plan our evening around, we want to watch that. And it's not like we couldn't tape it, but it was fun to watch it for the first time all together. I would love to see J. Daniel laugh
Oh my god!
at something, you know, and we would all laugh
Did
at.
you have any idea that Friends would last as long as it has? with other
Absolutely
generations?
not. Absolutely not.
I mean,
when
our daughter
Julianne
knows
started
every single
watching
episode.
it, I would say, "Oh my gosh, you mean you love this too?" Because it's a part of my DNA, that show.
Yeah.
And she does. I mean, and Natalie does too. You know, Natalie loves it. It's something that's pretty cool that all the
The
you
next
know,
generation.
all the generations can kind of come together on. It never feels old to me. It never feels dated. I get very excited about this.
I kind of
topic.
wish that I would come home and my kid would be watching 30-something, but that
You
never
know,
was my
I have
pleasure.
actually looked to see if that was somewhere that I could watch streaming, because that's a show that I loved. We loved, and it happened at a time when we were about that age.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, another show that we've watched for many, many years, and it was a 70s show that it's Saturday Night Live today is still the best.
Well,
Maybe not the best. This year with Nate Bargatze was the best episode.
yeah,
they've
that
had in
was the
many
best
years.
episode they've had in
But
forever.
You probably weren't allowed to watch Mary Hartman.
No, I was not allowed to watch
Oh my
that.
gosh, Mary Hartman.
I was not, and I never understood why I wasn't allowed to watch it, except for, you know what? I got to tell you that I snuck and watched it anyway, and I didn't like it.
In the laundry room.
In the laundry, absolutely in the laundry. I watched a lot of stuff in the laundry room while I was folding clothes.
What was that other show that came out around then that had
Soap.
soap? Yes, it had the first gay character. It was Billy
Yep,
Crystal.
Billy Crystal, that's right.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that was the
Gosh,
big
my
show you
head
were-
is a plethora of worthless knowledge.
I know. If you could only make Jeopardy on one category, you'd like rock it. Well,
I would be a millionaire.
I know. The other thing that we're talking about location, we actually one of our trips out to San Francisco. Remember, we had to stop by those houses from Too Close for Comfort.
No, it wasn't too close for comfort.
Same type of houses there on the same road. It was Full House. I know it was Full House.
And that
Fuller
was
House.
not for me. That was for our precious daughter.
She loved Full House.
Which that's another show that was what's that? What did you say? You said it was TGIF. That's what came in the 90s. TGIF, you know, and it was that and the one where did I do that? Family Matters. Remember him?
Oh yeah.
So
Well, we had Different Strokes and Facts of Life.
I watched Facts of Life in my
Your
living
friend
room.
Lisa Welch.
Yeah, well, she was then. Yeah.
She was a friend. Well, she's a wonderful person. And then, what did you think about those reunions they've done recently, where they did the Facts of Life live and
Well, they did that with. Did they do that with Norman Lear?
they did, where he was sitting there.
Yeah, because they did an All in the Family.
Yep. With
They
with new actors doing it.
Yes, but it was the
right.
exact same script.
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
you
yeah.
imagine how many scripts they had to flip through to go,
In order to get there.
Well, no, this is appropriate enough for television
Today.
Are we not going to get in trouble for this? When I think about what they thought about what they were going to be in trouble for before, because they were walking a thin line then. All in the Family was not accepted by everyone. Boy, my grandfather loved All in the Family. Mm-hmm. Loved it.
Another genre that I really loved of TV was all the space shows.
My favorite, Martian. I love that.
I didn't even think about my favorite.
I watched
Martian.
it on Sunday afternoon.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, see, that was a Christopher show.
Oh gosh, Buck Rogers.
He loved that. Christopher loved all those.
What about
Those
Lost in Space?
Lost in Space. Loved Lost in Space.
I don't remember my favorite Martian. I guess that was a little older.
You didn't
classic
watch
TV.
My Favorite
No,
Martian?
but I never really watched My Three Sons either. And that was kind of
I
the same
love
era.
My Three Sons.
But I love the Jetsons. That's another space show.
You know what? The Jetsons, I saw something recently. The Jetsons was supposed to be set in 2023.
Oh, it was.
Or
Is that our
something
year?
like that. Yeah. Something that we've either lived through or
Me,
that
George Jetson. I always thought it'd be kind of fun to get dressed that way.
to
the
have
the food that would come out and all that kind of stuff.
on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. The Jetsons, and then
It's not that far off
I was
from what
never
we
really
do.
into Star Trek though. As much as I love Star Wars, the movie and things of that nature, but like as a TV show, I never really got into it.
Yeah, Christopher watched it, I think, but I was not a Trekkie.
Battlestar Galactica, I loved.
He loved it. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty great.
Dukes of Hazzard, that was another one that
then
we
you,
watched.
you mentioned Dukes of Hazzard, Starsky and Hutch, and the other shows
Love Starsky and Hutch.
brought certain cars into iconic stature.
Absolutely.
I mean, like the Starsky and Hutch car is like iconic. The Dukes of Hazzard,
Absolutely.
Rebel Flag, once again,
Not allowed.
Not allowed. But the Dukes of Hazzard car was so great. And then what's the girl's name that was in the short shorts? I didn't know, Daisy Dukes, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever her name was. Anyway, but loved her. And then you had my favorite car show though, Knight Rider.
Oh, everybody loved Knight Rider.
Yeah,
That was a Friday night show, too.
that car was pretty smart too.
Was it now?
It was. It really was. But anyway, well, we've established the fact that you love TV.
I do.
And as
I
we
do
kind
love
of
TV.
wrap up, and I tell you, one of the fun things to do if you are with your best friend who happens to be your spouse, and you're riding around in a car on a road trip, go to iTunes and listen to or Google, Spotify, whatever you do, classic TV tunes. We've had fun.
We have, to see who can guess it the quickest.
And we did that back when we had CDs and we put a CD in with classic TV tunes, and we would just, as soon as the song would go, we would scream it out and kind of guess which one.
That's what another thing about television that I love is that it transports you for a short amount of time, because it's not like a movie where everything has to be quiet for 2 hours and you're all engrossed in what you're doing. But 30 minutes or maybe an hour, but 30 minutes, and then you're
we experienced
there.
TV before binge TV.
Yeah.
I mean, you would watch an episode and have to wait another week to the next episode, wait another week to the next episode, and binge watching wasn't really. And then when we started having marathon TV, I mean, we're not even talking about your TV shows like you love, like when a Chrisley.
That's
Todd,
the only reality TV show that I
whatever.
really love.
You'll watch that, and it's a marathon. You will
It
be stuck
cracks
watching
me
that
up.
all the time.
You know what? The stupidity cracks me up, I think.
Yeah.
It's
And
amazing to me.
Little known fact: one of my favorite TV shows comes on at 3 a.m. World News Now. I love that.
That is not
news
a little
program.
known fact to me.
I know it's not, because if I wake up around 2:30 or 3, man, I'm turning on the TV and watching World News Now.
And 3 o'clock seems to be the magic number in this house to wake up.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So as we kind of bring this episode to a close, we've talked for, 35, 40 minutes about TV shows.
I haven't even scratched the surface.
I know.
There's so much more I could talk about.
Well, talk about it if you want to.
I just,
I was going to bring
I'm
up...
very passionate about television.
I know you are. And after the beginning of the year, I'm starting another one of these men's spiritual journeys called Exodus 90. And you're not allowed to watch TV, as you know.
No, it's not that you're not allowed to
Well,
watch TV.
it's one of the things I'm not allowed to watch
Refine
TV.
that
Not supposed to play video games. Not
explanation.
supposed to watch TV, televised sports. But the one
If
thing
you
you are
watch
allowed to
it-
do, hold on, the one thing you are allowed to do is to do special things with your wife and do things that she likes. And they say, don't be a jerk. Don't say, I can't watch TV if you love TV, which you do. So typically during those 90 days leading up to Easter, it's like Lent on steroids, but those 90 days, I will not just watch TV, but if you're in there watching and it's appointment TV,
which I'm always in
I know,
there
I can sit in there and
watching.
I'll join you and enjoy that. But talk about some of the TV shows that you've loved and the endings. So, like, I remember
I
when,
love the Friends ending.
do you? What
I
happened?
did. I
don't
mean, I
remember.
bawled like a baby.
What happened with Friends ending?
I love
Did they get married?
who?
I don't know any of them.
Ross and Rachel got back together.
Oh, they
they didn't
did.
necessarily get married, but they got back together. But I loved
You love that ending.
I loved the symbolism of all of them putting the keys down on the table or on the,
Did they move out of the apartment? Is that what happened?
yes.
I don't remember this episode.
Oh my gosh, who are you? Yes. So Monica and Chandler moved to a house in the suburbs, and then
No,
life
I don't know
changes.
this. I'm sorry, but I do remember. I remember how emotional I was over the MASH ending.
Is it
MASH was
still the most highly
highest watched TV show of all time. I don't know.
or
about
no
that.
ending like final show?
Non-sports, yeah, like a non-sports TV show. But that MASH ending was fantastic. And then I always thought it was fun the way they ended Seinfeld. If you remember the Seinfeld.
Yeah,
episode.
that's not the ending I would have chosen.
And a lot of
But
people didn't like the ending.
it was
of
very Larry
A lot of people
David.
didn't really like the ending of The Sopranos either.
a lot of people don't like the ending of that one. And I think it's because it's left to our own imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And lazy TV watchers want it to be all wrapped up.
That's the
I
same
found
thing.
it very creative.
The best ending on Bachelor season 12, same thing. Like everybody wanted to
Lord
have
help.
resolution as to what happened. But sometimes you just have to have faith.
And the idiots that show up to see if they actually have a conscience or any sense.
Oh, my Lord. Well, Suzanne, I know that TV is one of your love languages, and hopefully as people are listening to this podcast tonight or today or whenever they're listening to it, Missy, when she's working out. And, hey, by the way, I looked at our stats. Do you know that people in 16 different countries are listening to our program?
Really?
16, that's what it said. And
So that's different from when?
that little experiment where I put up a few things on TikTok, all of a sudden we had more viewers than we've ever had.
Oh, little experiment of TikTok.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok. You told me that I don't know how to do TikTok. I
No,
put it up
you
there.
do like reels, which are old TikToks.
So in about a year or so, our
yeah, it'll come up.
TikTok's
No,
gonna show
no,
up on
no, no.
Facebook.
It came up on reels actually.
Did it?
I watched it. Yeah, it hit my feed real often, which I
that's
thought was weird.
Well, I guess the data analytics say that you like this show.
Oh, I'm a big fan of
I guess
myself.
that's what it is. But I will tell you, if you do see our video on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. You can also share the link for all the marryyourbestfriend.org that's out there that will give you all the episodes. But next week, Suzanne,
Oh, we're done with TV?
I don't think
I love it.
I know you can talk about it forever and ever. And actually, we're going to do another episode, not next week, but like tomorrow. And it's going to be our Christmas episode. Because
Oh, fa la la.
I know we have to do a whole episode because we used to secretly make out at Christmas.
Oh,
And,
we did.
Yeah. And so next the next episode is going to be on
The secret is out.
we used to secretly make out at Christmas and all other family holiday traditions. So I know you'll appreciate that. But anyway, thanks for joining us. Thanks for
indulging me on my favorite thing.
my
in
Lord. And
the
if
world.
you are ever at a party, if you're ever alone with Suzanne, if you ever want to call her or Facebook or anything, you now have a subject that you can engage her in conversation. Just go,
I have an opinion on every television show.
I was watching an episode the other day of Maude, and you will just light up.
Maude. Okay, so they had that was also ultra controversial because she had an abortion
And Maude
at that age.
Maude was a spinoff of what show?
That was off of All in the Family.
Was it All in the Family? Yeah, I knew it was. But another.
Am I right or
I
am
don't
I
know.
wrong?
Another female. I mean, we didn't talk about Hazel. You love
I
Hazel.
love Hazel.
You still
I
love
don't
Hazel
love
to
it
this
when
day.
Hazel goes to
Well, it's like I don't
to
like it.
his brother,
I don't
Mr.
like
B's
I don't like the
brothers.
colorized Andy Griffith.
I don't like most of them to be color.
Yeah,
I like them to be black and white.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. But
That
okay,
sound like
so
my dad. That's just one of those things.
what's this?
My dad. That's just one of those things.
Yeah. Well, if you ever want to talk to Suzanne about anything, just bring up a TV show and she will randomly. I mean, my Lord, we didn't even talk about our kids' TV shows, but the Banana Splits. You remember the Banana Splits and Hanna Barbera.
The slide of
I
Banana
know.
Splits.
Well, and you think about Saturday. Okay,
Hanna-Barbera.
before we end,
they
before
just
we end,
died.
I know, but before we end, we didn't even talk about Saturday cartoons. I mean, we grew up on Saturday cartoons. Our kids never really got to experience Saturday because kids' sports today ruined Saturday morning cartoons.
Well,
we used to sit
no,
in front of the TV.
Nickelodeon ruined Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay, we used to sit and watch George of the Jungle and Speed Racer, and then I remember
the
Captain
Jetsons and the
Caveman came out.
Flintstones.
Well, but I remember like Barney, the Rocky and Bullwinkle, and all those kind of fun things.
Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes, yes. But they had
Woody
all
Woodpecker.
Woody Woodpecker, golly, all kinds of Saturday morning cartoon fun. But we're not going to talk about that. We're ending now. Join us next time.
Stretch Armstrong.
Join us next time when we will talk about our Christmas traditions and how we secretly used to make out all the time.
Can we make out later?
I don't think anybody wants
Can we
to
have
see
the
us
TV
make out.
on while we do it?